shot. I'd like to call the meeting of the Finance and Facilities Committee. We do have a quorum. And first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the February 13th meeting. Can I have a motion? Second. Margaret, second. All in favor? Yes. Okay, action items. 2.1, recommended approval of payroll certification. Motion, Margaret, Jim, all in favor? Opposed, motion will carry. 2.2, recommended approval of amendment of contract CA 99-55570 now Novell Studios Inc. Motion, Margaret, second. Jim, all in favor? Great. Okay, 2.3, recommended approval of unpaid leave of absence, Stephen Fetterman. Motion, Jim, second. Margaret, all in favor? Motion carried. I'm talking loud, I'm sorry, my sinuses are having a hard time here. 2.4, recommended approval unpaid leave of absence for Jessica Griffith. Motion,
Second.
Jim, all in favor? Motion passed. 2.5, I'll try to lower it. 2.5, recommend approval of resolution for hourly rates for tutors A, B, and C and supplemental instructors. Motion, Jim, second. Margaret, all in favor? Okay. Last action item, 2.6. Recommended approval of resolution for the capital improvement plan request to Broome County for 25/2030. Motion, Margaret, Jim, in favor, approved. Okay, I think that was a record. Now it's up to you to carry on the record. Information item. President.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the month of March, and March is Women's History Month, and we are honoring the remarkable women of our college who made an impact on our college, our community, and our country. The theme this year is Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And we have had a very strong social media presence with short bios and photographs of many of our women employees. They're beautifully shot, and the biographies are really well written. Thus far, we featured Lee Martindale, Melissa Martin, Christine Martiochola. I believe, Penny, I think you're part of an upcoming one this morning. Dr. Lee Heron from business. Marie Finelli, I believe, is scheduled, Vanessa Rodriguez, and Dr. Carol Ross Scott. They'll be featured throughout the rest of the month on women who uplift other women and honor those that have empowered marginalized.
Where is it?
It's on social media, so they'll definitely pull it together as part of the board report, the MarCon board report. So you'll see probably all of them. I'm not sure if there's a way.
They're on
see
Facebook.
I'll see if there's a way that we can get them. They're in Facebook, Instagram, all the social media spaces. And like I said, Matt Ebers has done a really nice job of photographing all of our strong, powerful, remarkable women. Yesterday, our supervisors gathered again for a supervisors meeting. We reviewed several finance, human resources, and payroll operations. I want to thank Laura Hodel and Jeanette Thompson for doing a presentation, providing information on those areas, HR, payroll, and finance. You can tell the impact this is having on the college by the kinds of conversations that I'm now hearing after the meetings. People are talking about, of all things, payroll. They're talking about lead. They're talking about finance. We also had Vice President Sullivan presented on the FY25 budget and forecast. So there's some sobering presentation of the financial situation that we're trying to be open and transparent. as we move into the next budget. So I want to thank Michael for his presentation yesterday as well. The 2024-27 Strategic Planning Committee met yesterday as well. Yesterday was a very long day. We're having weekly meetings in preparation of the development of goals and priorities and strategies. Yesterday, the committee heard presentations on the SUNY Broome Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion initiatives, as well as Vice President Sullivan's budget and forecast yesterday. Next week is spring break, so the committee itself will not be meeting as a committee. But a small subsection of the committee will get together to look at the values of the college, to tweak and adjust the values as needed. So we don't do that as a large group. And then we'll begin the process of creating themes, strategies, and goals for the strategic plan. I'm pleased to announce that SUNY Broome's 2024 Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence will be presented to Brandy Bonch and Alejandro Cervida Gonzalez. So they are the two recipients from SUNY Broome, two of about 200 students throughout the system. So we'll all be gathering in Albany for a reception, and they'll receive their awards at that time. Other events and meetings that I attended, I had a wonderful opportunity to gather with other SUNY presidents last week in Albany, because this is advocacy and legislative session. I think I caught my pick while doing the Lord's work up in Albany. Just wanted to let everyone know that on the 21st is the Hornet Hope Center ribbon cutting ceremony. So that's when we'll be opening the pantry under a new title, thanks to a wonderful grant by our partner Admiral. To remind everyone that there are no classes next week because of spring break. So our faculty and students, John, will have a little moment of respite and regrouping. So take a moment, breathe, exhale, because when you come back, it's the big push until the end of the semester. I'll be attending the American Association of Community Colleges National Meeting on April the 4th through the 9th. It's in Louisville, Kentucky. It'll be my first meeting as a new president. And there is an activity that recognizes the welcoming of new presidents. So hopefully come back with a new plaque that we can display. But while I'm gone, not that I will miss it, but I'll miss it on campus. But I want to make everyone aware that on April the 8th is the solar eclipse. And we've got lots of activity planned on campus to recognize, to learn, to protect ourselves, and to kind of appreciate this phenomenon collectively. I'm not sure of the details. I think they're still working out the details. But the eclipse is about 4.5 minutes long, so literally if you won't miss it. Although we're not in the direct path of it, we will recognize it. And we've ordered 500 safety goggles so that people have the opportunity to get outside and hopefully it'll be sunny and clear. And enjoy this phenomenon. And with that concludes my report.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Michael.
Yeah, so in your packet is the monthly budget update. So this one has still the same bottom line forecast, a balanced budget. We have made some modifications within the line items. Primarily do this after we solid spring enrollment numbers, as well as we're just about halfway through the fiscal year, so it's important to try to get that in alignment as we're developing next year's budget, because we're really taking a look at what the current year looks like and what kind of variances there are. Kind of dovetailing on Dr. Hawkins' comments about a couple of presentations yesterday, which were kind of the major factors that have been influencing the financial performance and sustainability of the college. Kind of took a look back at the last 5 years and then really wanted to update. You know, we presented to the board for the last several years the financial sustainability plan, multi-year, usually about 5 years out. And we would anticipate that we'll present that to the board in the April board meeting, kind of piggybacking the multi-year with the proposed budget for next year. So by having the forecast pretty much, I think we're pretty close to having a final answer with the proposed budget for next year. And then based on those two factors, the forecast for this year, proposal for next year, really gives us enough information to project out into the next 4 years. So, so all of that is taking place. I want to thank you for approving the capital plan. It's a major effort as well. That likewise is a 6-year plan. And of course, the county pretty much focuses on the first year, 2025. So in the rest of your packet, we just have pretty standard reports. A real positive one is the investment report. Interest rates, interest earnings are pretty high for 5%, depending on what we invest in. So we should have, and that's part of the adjustments made in the forecast. We anticipate maybe earning up to $500,000 in investment earnings for the current year. Usually, over the last couple of years, it's been close to 0 or 1% or 2%. So just want to commend Jeanette, who kind of oversees that. The board approved an investment policy pretty similar to what we had in place in terms of what we can invest in, which is pretty limited in the public sector side, but we're still able to get a pretty good rate. We kind of have to seize the moment because most likely interest rates are going to be coming down a little bit towards the end of the year, at least based on what the Federal Reserve has been talking about. So in addition to the standard reports, I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Thank you. Okay, Dave.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one quick clarification on the minutes. I thought there was going to be a discussion, but there was, you got to approve too quickly. But on the last month's minutes, it shows that the library HVAC work was going to be completed by the end of February, but that's not correct. That's when the work started. That work will actually be completed by June. So just a clarification on that. You all have my report. Along those same lines as the library work, we finally got a building permit issued for the photography lab, and that work is ongoing right now. We expect that work to be completed by August, with the intent of being able to use that. I'm looking at Dr. Kelly use that room for next semester. So that's our goal, is to get it done. It's if you want to take a walk down there at some point, take a look and see. But much of the electric's already done. HVAC work, we're trying to put up the walls. So that's moving along really, really well. So that'll be an asset when that gets done. We had 2 of our 3 rooftop motors on the Natural Science Center burn out a few weeks back, and those motors drive the fans that exhaust the hoods in the Natural Science Center. So we had to have those replaced, and the bearings and the fans are bad as well. So all 3 motors will be replaced along with the bearings. So we'll have all new units up there. They're about 10 years old. So that's about the lifespan for those types of motors. We're finalizing bid options for the Decker Nursing renovation project. In fact, we're meeting this afternoon. Once we complete that, we'll sit down with Michael Sullivan, Dr. Hawkins, and Dr. Kelly to evaluate what the best approach will be to get that work done, to bid it and then get the work done. The issue is the lead time for a lot of the equipment that we're expecting to include in that project. So, we have a couple of options. We could bid it now and then wait for that equipment to come, then do the work at some point later in the year, or we can wait for the bid and proceed that way. So we're gonna have a couple of options, but we'll get those together and have the three people that I just mentioned discuss that. Same thing with the campus-wide sign-in project, which is further down below under additional projects. And Dr. Hawkins, you alluded to it briefly yesterday, but we're looking at potentially a new branding, or that's under discussion. And if that's the case, we need to incorporate that into the signs as well. So I think we should have that same conversation with you and Michael Sullivan as a minimum. I'll get that information together, but the architect is nearing the point where we can begin to make recommendations on what the signing should and would look like across campus. And we're looking at every sign, whether it be stationary or electronic, on the exterior of buildings around the campus. So all the signs are being evaluated, and we had a good presentation by the architect last week. And as I said, we'll set that meeting up with you and Michael. We had a good meeting the other day with the oversight group for the lecture hall and AT. I know Dr. Kelly was there, Christine was there. There was a lot of good feedback. I think the architect has got a good direction now as to what we want that room to look like. And their next step will be to come back to us and present those options and associated costs. A lot of the other stuff has been on the report for a few months now, and it continues to move along, but those were the primary projects that I wanted to address. So with that, I would be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Any question? Okay, saying no. Candy, it's 9:17. Anything else that anyone will bring before the board before I ask for an adjournment? Done. Motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Jim, second. Margaret. And meeting adjourned. I don't know if there's a.